When I mention mass awakening, I'm going to expect that this community of people that's going to be coming out, they're going to be fairly new to this kind of really deeper spirituality. It was coming up, this kind of depth is really just the shift in their various states of being and in their very identity. So it's not just the tangible, but something on the inside. So if this is going on, that even if you haven't been exposed to anything spiritual or have just been seeing the more shallow displays on the internet or, well, easily TV shows, but on the internet you kind of try to look into those articles and people talking. I'd say the easiest ones are, there's intuition, there is, what I'm getting is that it's more of the energetic component, so it's not really specifically like astrology, like specifics in astrology. It's more like the energy reading, and you kind of look over that and you kind of just take it as it is, and it kind of stays casual, like it stays on a casual level. But what I'm getting here is that with the recent upheaval of people that are feeling very frustrated and resisting very heavily to all of this more negative or toxic or something is missing type of really surface level, or even kind of, I'm getting like brainless content. So, you have the content farms, you have well, back then it was more like clickbait. So it was like thumbnails that would show one thing, or titles that would try to give something truly amazing, but when you click on it, it wasn't really anything impactful to you. And you keep trying and feeling this pull towards something more, something that would light you up on the inside, something that would fulfill your very being, and you're just not getting that. So let me start with these cards. What I'm getting from this card is that even if you have never been exposed to anything spiritual, or just by your lifestyle alone, not as an insult, just saying how it is, this is where yourself, your inner self, is having the self-preservation acting on your end. So it's not even your fault. If you're feeling this pull towards something more and facing so much resistance and agitation that is going on, you can see it actually, this is kind of a reason why you see so many people agitated on TikTok. And that's because there's a self-preservation going on, and also an upheaval where many souls at once are just communicating with you. They're giving this signal to be more fulfilled, to light you up on the inside, and it's basically helping prevent you from staying at a superficial level. So, and I'm not saying like this is more subjective, like if you enjoy fashion and style and what appears more superficial, but it's something that you really enjoy, like on a soul level, then that's not, I wouldn't say that's the superficial that I'm talking about. It's more like even on the toxic level, it feels primal. There's a point where you can indulge in something, and people have kind of converted this and have actually shifted the meaning without even saying anything of, this as an example, scrolling through social media. So this can be an enjoyable thing, right? But when it gets to an addiction level point and it becomes very superficial, shallow, toxic, etc., people have started calling it doom scrolling. And it's interesting because this meaning shifted by itself. We didn't really talk about, the way social media has turned from, scrolling social media has turned from something fun to something more distressful. And I don't mean like the AI content, but just in general. I mean, it feels like the internet has always talked about negative topics, disturbing stories, and yet this frustration that has been building up, it's been even just that studious nature of ourselves and being interested in these rabbit holes and these arcs of people, and whatever story is viral, there still comes a point where I would say the ones that still give a positive reaction from us today, that is a sign of something that is kind of signaling toward your identity. So there are times where your scroll on social media feels good, and other times it feels like, it's doom scrolling. So yeah, there are levels to that, and so you can kind of see here that the beetle is covering her chest. And I would say that the heart, the feelings that you get in your heart and in your solar plexus area, is a really good signal to that. And also see how the wings are behind her throat as well. So communication. So all of these things are connected. And I would say that I'm going to go over this on the last card when I talk about indulging in your senses to have a deeper and more self-aligned communication with yourself. But what you feel in your heart area and in your stomach area, is a good indicator of what you on the inside, on a deeper level, feel about whatever content you're looking at. And I would say even when you laugh, it's, your laughs, there's a sensation of coming up from your throat, and of course there's the orange around her eyes and mouth as well. And yeah, there's definitely levels of connection to that. I would say, there's communication. Usually if you're laughing at something and you're, really enjoying something, I would say that's kind of communicating what kind of aligns with you. Like, it could be something good, like it can be a party, it can be comedians. So you really want to develop the style of expressing yourself and your style of comedy. And other times it's just even a community, like communicating with your community. When you open up the comment section in TikTok, I've seen this, like everything is really funny, and people have talked about this, like how it's such an amazing event. And it's like, people have talked about being so miserable on TikTok, but then there's these times really recently where you can have a scroll that's really fulfilling to you. And I would say this actually is a sign of the positive view of a want of community. So yeah, I would say that right now it has shifted a little bit into being I guess, mini age of irritation and agitation, because this grew even faster and stronger than the kind of, yeah, it's kind of like the disdain, kind of a more simmering disdain that has been on a longer term. But yeah, this, from 2 days ago on October the 20th, it was really building up. And then it so happens that there are these little like bursts of positivity, like positive experiences, positive emotions, and events. And so I really think that this is a sign of people digging into that identity. And when you find more about your identity, something that is truly like your identity, and finding out more of yourself, there is that moment where it's like your heart blooms and you have this, it's like, yeah, it is like a gain of just a really good feel good inside of you. So yeah, just like a feel good feeling inside of you. And I really feel like this is from people doing the inner work in themselves, even if it's just studying yourself. So I've seen media journals where you basically just go through whatever it is that interests you. Try not to make it so much of a mental pressure, or make it just a pressure like you have to do, like, you're on a deadline, or if you feel like you have to hustle through things, try to reduce that motion. And I would say that if you feel the pressure or the rush to get through a series, I feel like there are some factors involved with that. Sometimes it is the series itself. Like, if you're one of those people, or if you're dealing with this right now actually, where you want to rush to the good part in a series, but that means like going through 3 seasons to get to this so-called good part, then I just feel like that would really stress your body, because it feels, yeah, it's sort of like the equivalent to waiting in a really long line for a concert or something that's supposed to feel a lot better than whatever you're going through right now. So one practice of this, one exercise, since there are factors, also internal and external factors as well, basically try to rewire your belief and just study yourself on how you react to this thing that's bringing up this like stress or hustle vibe, and just see what comes up. For example, I'm planning a trip to Europe, and it's this group, sort of like a group travel experience, right? And so I'm planning about what to wear and, where we're going to go. But the thing about that, and this is a, more specific experience, I was kind of facing this scenario where I was like, okay, but I was on TikTok and I saw, a lot of videos saying that people in Paris are so rude, and I want to socialize there, but how am I going to like socialize if, I experience someone rude there? Like, how am I like supposed to connect, or how am I supposed to enjoy myself if I think it would be just like a second America, but with all the rude like people I've had in America, it would just be like copy and pasted into Paris. But one way that I rewired this belief was, for one, that we were going to be as a group. So honestly, we would just like socialize within our group, and there's also a tour guide, so we would kind of know where to go, and we wouldn't just kind of depend on the people around us. Like, it's kind of just random people. If you were treated like the home country that you're in, I mean, yes, there are like nice people, but there's also like a different culture, even if you're in the north, like in the more north state or a southern state. Even in the same state, like if I were to go more north, just in this very state that I'm in, I know that there is a certain way that they act, and even in the different places, there's a difference in the way that they act. And even where I'm at now, in the hometown, where southern hometown, where people are more likely to say like, oh, southern hospitality, and there'll be nicer people in the south. Well, no, I mean, I'm in a pretty southern place, and that doesn't apply to everyone. So I really think that just treat people as people. I've kind of had enough experience working with, I guess, more quote unquote colder personalities, but really there's just many reasons on how people may act alone rather than gauging their energy, which is a bit more truthful to what is really happening behind the external. So really, I would just be like, okay, I just have to understand and adapt to that energy. I mean, just even though there may be like issues in every country, it doesn't mean there's many people that travel and have a great experience. So what are they doing that is creating a great experience for them? And I've heard stories about I've heard a story about a woman that ended up marrying a man from Paris when she was just walking in the street, which is which is okay. I mean, there's a lot of things to say about that, but they have. She's saying that they have a successful marriage and relationship. So honestly, I mean, I've seen plenty of really interesting meetups and getting married, and they're doing all right. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to take it negatively, but if people go through these really amazing ways and just really out of nowhere, like impulsive ways, but they end up enjoying themselves and having these great experiences anyway, I mean, I would treat it as, yeah, I would treat it as it being near supernatural, and whatever great things may come out of something.